What's up YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking about springs, specifically how many different types of springs that I've changed on the 100 series Land Cruiser and why I'm doing it one last time. So as far as springs go, there is no one size fits all, especially when you're modifying your rig for overlanding or off-roading. For me, my journey started many years ago with the bone stock 100 series. I wanted to lift it, I wanted to give a little bit more clearance, and hence I went with the Old Man Emu lift kit. It was the medium load lift kit. The car was completely stock, so it worked just great. It lifted the Land Cruiser maybe about 2.5 inches, and it worked very well for a while. Since then, I've been adding a lot of weight to the Land Cruiser in the form of a fridge, a rear bumper with swing out, the drawers, put the back seats back in, etc., etc. And it has caused those springs to sag. Because there's no certain answer to what spring you should be running in regards to how much weight and where the weight is in the Land Cruiser, it's more of a trial and error process. So like I said, I first started off with the medium load, which is the Old Man Emu 860 springs. With the addition of the rear bumper and the fridge, they already started sagging. So I switched them out for the SLE heavy duty springs. Those weren't really that great. They didn't help too much. After the SLE springs, I tried the Old Man Emu 863s. With the 863s, I was able to get the rear of the Land Cruiser almost level to the front, as you probably saw in my previous video. However, whenever it loaded up, it was still sagging quite a bit. So now we come to today. We are installing the Old Man Emu 864s. Now these guys are technically the same height as these 863s. However, they are a higher spring rate. I forget exactly by how much, but the coils were a lot thicker compared to the 863s. So for this video, I'm going to be doing a test. It's going to be a comparison between the Old Man Emu springs, the 863s, and the 864s. First, we're going to compare ride quality. A lot of people have been concerned about the ride quality of the 864s when it's unloaded. So when all the camping stuff is out of the car, how bad is it going to ride? Number two, we're going to check out the amount of sag. So I'm going to measure both springs before and after it's loaded to see the difference in sag level, and of course you'll see the difference in height as well. By the end of the video, hopefully you'll get a better idea on what spring you'll need for your Land Cruiser with your setup. Before we get started, if you haven't already done so, make sure you go ahead and hit that like button, and for more Land Cruiser and overland content, don't forget to subscribe. So right now I'm driving around with the 863 springs installed. To me, they ride pretty good. Obviously not as good as stock, but to be honest, for a aftermarket suspension setup that's relatively cheap, they ride pretty good. I mean, it's not bumpy and bouncy everywhere. You know, obviously you can feel the road a little bit more because it is a stiffer spring. However, like, it's nothing that's unbearable. Like this, I could drive this every day, which I have been, with no problems. Now, obviously, I'm not going to load up all my camping gear into the car for no apparent reason. So to simulate that, I added a couple of heavy items that I had around the house. Now, this guy is the 5-gallon water bottle that I usually take camping with us. This is 2/3 full, so it still weighs a good bit. We've also got the Old Man Emu springs, and we've got an Odyssey battery, so this guy actually weighs a ton. Now, I know the fridge and the drawers, they weigh a lot too. However, those guys are going to be in there regardless. Also on the back, I've put the water port on with the water completely full. Now that we have the car fully loaded up, let's measure how much it sags. So right now, I'm at 21 3/4 for the driver's side loaded up. On the passenger side, I'm at 22 inches loaded up. Now, let's take out all the weight and measure it again. So now that the weight is out of the car, let's measure it again. Center of the cap to the top. We are at 22 1/8 inch. So a little bit higher than before on the driver's side. Let's check the passenger side. For the passenger side, unloaded, we are looking at 22.5. So definitely a little bit higher on this side too. So next thing we gotta test is the 864 springs. So let me put them in real quick and see how those guys ride. So first impressions driving with the 864 springs on, it's definitely higher. You can see my point of view is tilted a little bit downwards, I guess, because the rear is higher now. Now I'm looking down at the ground a little bit more than normal. The ride itself, I mean, you can feel it a little bit stiffer than before. So you're gonna feel a little bit more of like the imperfections on the road, a little bit more bumpy. Now this is of course just road driving. However, is it annoying and unbearable? Well, so far it's been all right. Compared to the 863s, it's not too big of a jump to where it's like not comfortable. Now I just went over some roto tracks and felt fine, no problem. Also, of course, you know, it has a lot to do with your tire pressure. Right now, my tire pressure, it's been constant through this whole test. However, the tire pressure, I believe, is right around 40 or 42 or something like that. So nothing too high, not too low either. But yeah, the impressions of the 864, definitely the car is raised higher in the rear. However, the drivability hasn't changed too much to where like it's not comfortable. I need to take them out again. I think this is doable. So with the 864 springs on and loaded up, let's see where we're at. We are at 23.25 on the driver's side. On the passenger side with the 864s, we are at 23 and almost a quarter. Now with the 864 springs installed and unloaded, the driver's side reads 23.5. Now with the 864s unloaded, we are at 23 inches and 5/8. And that is it for the spring comparison. Now, in my honest opinion, both of these springs ride really well on the street. The 863s are very comfortable with a good amount of lift. The 864s slightly rougher on the road, but not noticeable. The difference for me is gonna be the amount of squat when the Land Cruiser is loaded up. So when I load up for camping and stuff, I don't want the rear end to be sagging like before. So I might stick with the 864s. I'm not 100% sure yet. Let me know in the comments down below what I should do. Should I stick with the 864s or go back to the 863s? Or if there's a better spring out there that I don't know about, let me know. If you enjoyed this video, don't be shy. Go ahead and hit that like button. And for more Land Cruiser and Overland content, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.